Hello everyone, welcome to the new episode of Professionals Unplugged. I am your host Utkarsh Shukla and let me introduce you to my guest Shelly. Shelly, thank you so much for accepting our invite.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much, Shelly. So let's start with our very basic question. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience, like who you are, what work you do, anything you want to talk about yourself?
Wow, that was a big question. Um, so actually right now, I think this is a really important question that actually we all start to consider for ourselves because who are we? Um, the old me would have said, I'm a teacher, and I was a teacher for 11 years. But now actually who am I? Because I'm now stepping into my creative self-expression of, yes, I did the course to be a life coach. Working with clients and transforming their lives, and I'm embodying my dancing. I'm doing my own videos. I'm a content creator. So actually, when you ask me that, who am I? I'm actually just me. I'm just this channel of creativity and just passion and excitement. And I don't really want to put myself in a box of what I am because actually, when opportunity arises, like even this, I want to just keep saying yes. I want to keep pushing myself. I want to keep grabbing opportunities and actually seeing where am I heading? What am I doing? Because we're not one mold. We actually can, shape shift into lots of different things. One minute we might be offered a modeling, I don't know, opportunity, or like when I was in Dubai, I did public speaking. And also I was with an agency doing adverts and all sorts. So yeah, I really like that question because maybe instead of like generically what we're labeled as, how do we embody it? And for me, like my core value is my self-expression. So however that creativity channels through, I love.
That's pretty awesome. So you have covered a lot of things right now. So it will be great if you can just share your journey with us, like from Dubai, now in Bali. So how you started your career and what are the different
Mhm.
paths you have chosen, if you'd like to share that with us.
Absolutely. So I guess like all of us, well, I shouldn't say all because we shouldn't use absolutes, but generally when we're younger and we have to make these big decisions of who we want to be, what we want to become, we ask people and generally we don't know what we want to be and we get some advice and think, okay. And although at that point, I was so thankful and inspired by the person who kind of planted the seed of going to university to be a teacher. But deep down, even from the start, I still wasn't really excited about it. And I just did it because actually you can get a job. It'll be easy for you to get a job. And although every single school, every single child that I've had the pleasure of filling their beautiful minds with all the creations that I created in the classroom, and I loved it. I loved it so much because this is another thing is regardless what I do it, I show up with my highest passion and love. There was still something in me that was like, I just feel like, "Ugh," and I just want to break free a bit. So yeah, at a point, even though I was in Dubai and I had this beautiful golden package, I had my house, I had my medical, I had the beautiful golden package, and I loved the school I was teaching at, and I loved the children so much. And I actually created a creative arts role, and I got to dance and do drama and acting and art every day with the kids, and I had access to like 400 children. But it's like it came to the summer holidays and I thought I was always me, but I actually realized I never was. Like, I always thought I had high energy, but it's when I had that 6 weeks when I actually went traveling or I started doing my interests that I was like, wow, I'm actually not at my highest version. I'm not in my highest creative expression. I'm actually really tired and yeah, it was just something in me that was like, do you know what? I'm going to explore different routes. So I started attending networking events and I started listening to motivational speakers and listening to authors and other people that were actually just using their creative skills to create the life that they wanted. And I was like, if you can do it, I can do it. So that's when I started transitioning and doing my life coaching with Mind Valley, and it was amazing. And I attended their events. And then I looked at these people on the stages and just speaking their truth, speaking their story, and empowering and uplifting and healing people through their words. And I was actually always terrified of using my voice. And even though with the little children in my safe little setting, I always spoke like this with the children, like, you can do it, which I didn't realize then was the little breadcrumb of like the version that I would have evolved into. But in staff meetings, I was always whispering to someone else or something, and someone else would say it aloud, or I'd say it like in a setting where it was more one-to-one. And then, yeah, in Dubai, I was presented with multiple opportunities to basically, even though I was doing life coaching, they gave me the opportunity to do public speaking. And my soul was like, not my soul, I was like, ah. And then I remembered the videos I said to people, feel the fear and do it anyway. And before I knew it, I was talking in front of 50 businessmen and women. And something inside of me just activated. And it was like, as if it was like, finally, the thing that constantly was like holding you back and was negative was what you actually always wanted to do. So I honestly can say, usually you feel a fear for something, that's usually what you're supposed to do. And you should run towards it because it's something that's just trying to keep you safe, keep you a little bit comfortable. But it's when we break out the comfortability and we just dive into the unknown that real magic happens.
I think that's a very
And
inspiring story of you. You just told us like what you were trying to teach the children that you were teaching is what you wanted for yourself. Like you said, overcoming the fears and go on the public speakings. So you learn from
it
what you are
was
trying to teach them.
exactly. And I was sat there and I had a moment with one time with the microphone and I thought about different situations and I was like, actually, as an adult, if we gave you a pen right now and said, write your name, no one's going to be like, uh. But when we give someone a microphone, a lot of us actually don't know how to use a microphone. And what happens is when we use a microphone, our voice changes and we can hear ourselves. So it's never normally about the speech that the person's delivering. It's usually the tool that they've been given to have their highest capacity exposed. So I was like, this is what these kids need. They don't need to, and we did it in a game playing way, but I was like, if this microphone is going to stop cap these children or hold them back in their lives, I want them to be so comfortable with this. So I'd never really focused on like teach them how to dance. I taught them how to express themselves. I taught them how to show up confidently because actually in life, we need life skills because when we enter that room, it's all about energy. If you show up and you're kind of like, hi, and like people, oh, yeah, she's lovely. Or you show up strong and you show up powerful and you show up actually in your fullest, highest expression. And yeah, I within less than 3 months, I had these children that some of them couldn't even speak English that were like, hi, Miss Shelley, to like hanging the door open, like, ah! And I was like, oh my gosh, what have I created here? But they're so confident. And I would sooner that they stepped into that room and they owned it and they showed me their dancing, they showed me their art, and they believed in themselves. And that was, for me, my job was done. So
That,
proud.
that's really awesome. Yeah. It's something that you have
Yeah.
to be proud of, but sometimes it's not in our flow to maintain that confidence all the time, right? So how you deal in those situations, like what is that main motive you give them, or to yourself as well? I know it must not be easy for you to
But,
always have that confidence or that level. How do
ah,
you deal in your downs?
I really, really love that you asked that. Thank you. Because again, the actual big, and I'm not talking for everybody, but most stories I know is, you know what? Externally, sometimes I seemed confident, but I was shaky. But I stopped and I reprogrammed my mind. Every time my mind said, you can't do that. That doesn't look nice. Why are you wearing that? And it was this inner critic. And that a lot of our population have. And I thought, you know what, actually, I'm going to show up as the person, whether it's like mothering myself, being my own cheerleader. I'm not going to accept this behavior anymore because actually, would I speak to my friend like that? So I went on, and it was nearly, I'm not going to lie, it was nearly 2 years of constantly, every time I heard this negative thought, feeling emotion, saying, no, you can do it. You can do it. Because actually, I realized that when we change this, we change this. And when this changes, this opens. And people see this version of me now, but they don't see what I did to create this version. They don't see that I used to sit there and keep writing. You've got this, keep going, stay strong. Like even now I have these every day I will look and it will say a quote like, show up as your fullest version. So there's strategies I have in place that I tell people when I don't like to say a life coach because we're all here in this life, but I like to think of myself as more like an empowerment transformational coach. And when I'm working with my clients, I can't tell them the answers, but I can tell them what I did to change my mindset, my confidence. So yeah, it's interesting you say that you see this version now, but I was never this version.
And it's really an
Uh,
incredible story that you have shared with us. I really wanted to know how a day look like in your life, like a life of life coach rather than life coach, as you just mentioned. We should call you a person who is helping others. So, how a day looks like in your life.
how my day. It varies because again, I feel like there was a time in my life where I didn't really pour into myself. I didn't give myself self-love. And I think the beauty of, believing in yourself and creating the life you want to create, you are in charge of your own schedule. So as much as, yeah, if I wanted to, I could fill every hour of my day and focus just on the money I'm generating. But actually, is that kind? Is that kind to myself? And am I going to show up as the real present, fullest version for the people that need me and are counting on me to support them and empower them? So yeah, when we don't have sometimes now this contract which will say, okay, you show up 9 till 3 and this is what you do. When you kind of do have this flexibility, it's really important that you take time for yourself still, and that you have that time to rest and recuperate so that you can pour into someone else, because you need to be full first. In order for us to be full, we can then pour into someone else. Otherwise, if we're not full, we're not going to show up as our highest version. So yeah, my days vary. My days vary. Like if I feel like I need to go and ground at the beach, or I want to be in nature for inspiration, I take time for myself and I make sure that I have balance. So yeah, it's really important. And obviously being in beautiful Bali, surrounded by the nature, I'm so blessed, as we're all blessed wherever we live.
Yeah,
So
nature is the key. So
yeah.
we were talking about human designs before this interview. Can you just enlighten us on the same?
Sorry?
We were talking about the human designs, right, before the interview. You just mentioned.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So can you just enlighten us
Okay.
on the same?
I'll give it my I will give it my best. It was actually since I came to Bali and yeah, everyone talked about human design, kept following me and they kept saying, "Oh, you need to know your time of birth." And I never had it on my birth certificate, but I think deep down there was a little part of me that was like, do I want to know this? I don't know what this is. And everyone talking about all these different things. And I was like, in my mind of like, I don't want to be in a box. I don't want to be like this. And so I felt like it was another like going to tell me how I should be or whatever. And it kept following me, kept following me. And then finally, I don't know what happened, but I was just scrolling on my phone and it came through and I felt really cool to go. So I went and I kid you not, it was like the guy had gone into my mind and was just talking to me. Because when I first decided to kind of close the chapter of teaching and go on my own journey, I was sat there and I was waiting for, say, opportunities to come and things to happen. And they did. They came to me. But each time something inside of me was like, I don't know what it is, but there's just something in me that's like, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting like, ugh, again. And although co-creation is very important and there are ways that we can all work together to empower and uplift and embody each other, when I went to this meeting and then he said, you are like 8 or 10%, you're basically a full-on manifester and you need to create everything that's happening in your life. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, even in love, you need to go after like the person that you want to be with. And I was like, everything about what he's saying made sense, but also had this like feeling inside me like, that's not how a female behaves. We should be chaste, or like we should attract the male. And it's like I'm not saying anything about my previous partners, but yeah, each time I was kind of like, oh yeah, he's nice. But I never I never know if it was actually what I wanted. And yeah, so when I found out this whole manifester other situations where, say, something happens in my house, I will just know how to fix it. I won't be able to explain it, but just visually, I will just be like, oh, I need to do this and this and this and this, and it's fixed. And I always thought this was very masculine energy from the programming of society. So when that guy then said to me, you need to go for things, I felt this like energy of like masculine energy, but it's programming. And actually now that I'm showing up and I'm creating these videos and I'm taking full action of my life, there is this passion and excitement and adrenaline and energy just in me that's like, and it all makes sense. So yeah, I still don't know about the situation with going after, say, someone that I'm interested in. That still feels a bit to me, but little steps. We take little steps. We don't need to go straight towards the mountain. Just little steps of what we're focusing on, where we're putting our energy, and yeah, what creations come into our life. So yeah.
I think that's a very important point you have mentioned about human designs. Like we have a tendency to follow what we have been told, so or what we are seeing around us, right? That's the main point you have just mentioned. Like you need to
Mhm.
discover the path yourself rather than having those that's rather than having those mapped paths in your brain that you are trying to follow. You should create your own. I think that's the main point you are trying to mention.
Mm. Yeah, and one key thing that they actually said about a manifesto, which was really interesting, is I can get a lot done very quickly and to my standard very efficiently, but I can't always explain it. And that's the difference in say like a generator manifestor is usually they can either delegate or they can see their position. Like, to be honest, I don't know the full in and outs of it. I'm only remembering the little bits I remembered. But yeah, so sometimes even though it's that natural leader in us, it's not always, we're not and I can't speak for everybody, but actually the explanation someone to do in helping you, I can see how often we just end up doing it ourselves. And it's not because we don't trust anyone else's skills or don't believe in them. It's just because it's here and I just know what to do. And sometimes I can't explain it. So it all makes so much sense to me now. It's just, I see it, I know what I need to get, and I just visualize it and it's done. But I can't always tell someone how they can support me and help me because I kind of do it in the moment. Um, so yeah, so if anyone's watching and they know more about this and I haven't explained it properly, or like, please, I've only had one little session, but that's what I intuitively took away from it.
And that's really great. It was really insightful, and we got to know what you are trying to make the point here. So thank you so much for it. And I think we are done with our questions.
Very
Thank you
welcome.
so much, Kelly, for your information and for your insights. I hope we can do our next round once you are more into it. And it was really great talking to you.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot.
I loved it. Thank you so much for creating the opportunity, and you have inspired me. So yeah, funny, I went to that manifesting meeting and then an opportunity came to me and then I was like, I could do this. So you definitely inspired me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I send so much abundance and love and blessings to you, your projects and all that you want to achieve.
Thank you so
So
much.
yeah, thank you for taking the action. No problem.